Hey guys, Tarke here. I just wanted to record a quick video on my way out the door, hence the jacket and stuff. So one thing which people have sort of touched upon when it comes to the double dipping changes, but no one's really made a video about, so I'm making this video, is how the double dipping nerfs might actually be buffs to projectile clear speed. Now, why do I say that? So currently, and this is centered around projectiles, right? So bows and spells. Currently, if you have a skill like lightning arrow and you are doing poison with a lightning arrow, slapping stuff like GMP on there will nerf your initial damage because there's less projectile attack damage, and it will also nerf your poison damage. So what often ends up happening is you have the old metas of people using Reach of the Council, Death's Opus, getting as many additional projectiles on all their gear pieces as possible, so they can then drop these GMP links because they nerf their damage. So when you had the fully fleshed out character, everyone was dropping the GMPs. Well, now, when it comes to greater than multiple projectiles, since ignites, poisons, all of those things will be losing the projectile tag, if you slapped projectile damage onto, for example, lightning arrow, it would nerf the initial hit, but it would not nerf the poison. From everything that I've seen from other streamers I've spoken to, Yoji and others clarify this on Bayclass as well. From everything I understand, that's how it will work. And also, Carl did a very helpful little breakdown, which I want to show you. Mark even. Sorry, Carl. Sorry, Mark. So this is the current system. This is how stuff currently works. So you get your base damage, all of your modifiers, your attack, spell, damage, projectile, area, goes through into the enemy mitt, fire damage taken, comes back through, gets scaled again, and you end up with this whole thing of like everything scales and scales, and you end up with your base ignite taken at the end. With the new system, however, they're two separate things, right? So all your scales go into the initial, all of your scales go into separate, but you don't get this double scaling, which is what causes double dipping. Now, this means that when it comes to stuff like GMP, it has the less projectile damage tag. From everything we've seen thus far, from everything I understand, from conversations I've had with other people who sort of know stuff about the game, you'll be losing the projectile tag. This is obviously going to be quite a big hit when it comes to the source of available damage currently on the tree. If you look at the current skill tree, most of your damage scaling is coming through raw, generic projectile damage and stuff like that. However, for insert average bow build here, assuming we can get enough additional support through the base buffs they're doing to Poison Ignite itself and extra being added onto the skill tree, this is potentially a huge clear speed increase. Meaning that you can now have setups where your AoE and your single target setup is the same thing. Now, this will be more noticeable for spellcasters than it will be, for example, on bow builds, because most bow builds will have like insert tornado or lightning shot here, and then a barrage setup. But let's say that you're playing Fireball, for example, or Explosive Arrow. If you're playing Fireball or Explosive Arrow, normally what will happen is you have like your AoE setup, which is GMP as many additional proj as possible, and then some kind of weapon swap, which is a single setup. Now, when it comes to Fireball, generally you just kind of have the one setup and you drop gems in and out, but with Explosive Arrow, normally you weapon swap. You won't need to do that anymore, because the GMP will no longer nerf your ignite damage. And also with skills like Fireball, skills like Explosive Arrow, you still have some AoE overlap. So it's not like the gem is dead on single target. The AoE overlap will still give you some additional damage if you are a purely Ignite-centric build. Obviously it won't be that much, but it's something. And also it means that you can quite safely off-screen mobs. So it's still a helpful link, but you could, you know, in theory take that out and put something else in. Now, normally you would take out like GMP and put something like slower proj. However, slower proj won't scale your back end anymore. So it'll be interesting to see how exactly it works, but this is potentially quite a big thing. Now, when we go into stuff like chain and elemental proliferation, this becomes kind of interesting. So this is supported projectile skills deal less damage. Now, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this will also not nerf the back end because it supported projectile skills. So this, in theory, see, it's a bit clearer with GMP because it's just less projectile damage, whereas this is slightly different wording. But I believe this will also not affect the back end, which could be a substantial increase to your clear. I mean, you can then start running chain on things. And the great thing about chain, and say a poison build, is with chain, it hits one target, hits the back target, and bounces back to the first. With poison, that will help build up stacks. Now, even if this does end up still nerfing your poison damage, it's not going to be a double nerf, because it's not going to negatively nerf your damage twice, which is all of these ult supports, they would nerf your damage twice. Now they'll only nerf your damage once. So this could still be a good thing to use. And if you look at a lot of the recent tornado shot builds, they're going chain and fork to get that clear speed. We have enough damage these days. So basically what I'm trying to say with this video is going into 3.0, while things might look really bad for projectile-based, basically bow builds, or things might look very bad for double-dipping bow builds, we'll probably be okay. Same deal with Ellie Prolif. Ellie Prolif isn't going to screw your damage over twice. It's just going to screw your damage over once. And we kind of already do enough damage. We look at stuff like Assassin, 100% more poison damage. Now, they're probably going to change some things, but basically, I just want to make this video to say, calm down. Bow-based builds in 3.0 will be fine. Unless you're on Xbox. Because on Xbox, you won't have weapon swap. So, life-based LOL Xbox builds only have one setup. Yeah. I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Bye-bye.